good evening and welcome to tonight's DJNTV virtual training night. We're starting tonight off with our virtual exhibit hall, and we're kicking it off with JMaz Lighting, and we've got Victor from JMaz. Good evening, Victor.
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. John, how are you? Good to hear from you and see you once again.
Yeah, it's great to have you on tonight, and you've got some toys with you there tonight. That looks awesome.
Man, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous right now. You know, the things that we've got going on here, it's just crazy. Hands are full, all hands are on deck, all boots are on the ground, so we're busy.
Yeah, it's great that we can be saying those words together, that everything's working, we're busy. Yay. So you've got some really cool things we're going to be taking a look at tonight. But before we get into looking at the specific gear, if people want to find out more information on any of the products you're going to be talking about tonight, where can they go to check these out?
So it's definitely on our website, jmazlighting.com. It is on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and definitely on our YouTube channel. Currently, we have some very brief videos about the product that we're going to be showcasing today, which is the VersaFlex bar. And the reason for that is it's because, you know, this is such a complex piece of equipment. You know, most people will build a wash light, most people will build a light bar, most people will build a moving head. But when you try and put all of those ingredients into one, then you put yourself up against the wall to try and make it happen and not be so complicated for the end user. Sure. Once they have it in their hands.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for a lot of us, is to keeping it to uncomplicate things, because it can get they can get intimidating in that whole realm. And when I saw you guys brought the whole series where you can do and have flexibility, it's like, this is a cool thing for a mobile DJ. Really excited to go through things with you tonight. Okay, so we've got the website. You guys go out there, search JMaz Lighting. It's Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, everywhere. Go out there, like the pages, follow the pages, so you're up on that, because they're going to be dropping new products, you know, throughout the year. And of course, you'll be able to see more videos about the lights we're going to talk about tonight. So Victor, where are we going to start? You got some things in front and the back there. What are we looking at?
So one of the things I personally like to do is I'd like to give people, you know, like the 20-foot view. You know, I don't want to get into the weeds of things. So I'd like to give people the entire view. That's why I don't have just one bar set up. I have 3 bars set up. That way, people could see how the VersaFlex bar starts when you see it online, and what you get with when you buy the VersaFlex bar, and what it could look like once you start adding different options, different fixtures to it, like the entire line of bar lights that we've built for it. So what we have here in front of me, obviously, don't let this iPad confuse you. This is just to give you a perspective of this particular bar here. That's just an iPad. But the bar itself is an RGB wash, strobe, and beam all in one. So it has the outer lights that are RGB. Mm-hmm. It has a cool white strobe lights in the center. And it also has the warm white beams built into the bar. And it's prefabricated with 2 25-watt moving heads that include gobos, and it includes a color wheel as well. So that's what you're getting when you're looking at the VersaFlex bar. And what I have here behind me is what it could look like once it's fully dressed. Mm-hmm. So it's the VersaFlex bar. And then here we have the Quad 19 added onto them at the top. And then we have the Dual 324s right down here. And then on this one here is the Tron 7s. And these are the Tri 220s, 220 surface mount diodes. They're all RGB. And the reason for showing you your viewers 1, 2, and 3 here, it's because there is currently 1 option, 2 options, 3 options, and 4 options as far as expandability goes, as far as the flexibility of the VersaFlex bar. So that's what we have here. We have the VersaFlex bar as a base model, the way it comes, prefabricated. And we have 2 fully dressed versions behind me, each one showcasing 2 on each of the 4 options currently available, so that the end user can dress it up however they like.
So one question right immediately is that, let's say I'm looking at, and I like the 19, which is on over your right shoulder there. If Correct. I love those so much, could I have those on the top and the bottom? Or is it like a certain light has to go on top and a certain light has to go on the bottom?
Great answer, John. I'm sorry, great question. You can only have one pair of each. So you couldn't have four of them. You can have only two. Because the way that the VersaFlex bar is set up is that because the way it's built, there's an independent power supply and DMX data port directly on the back of it. When you plug these into the back, you have to tell the VersaFlex bar what you have plugged into unit 1, which is the top, and what you have plugged into unit 2, which is on the bottom. So once you told the bar that you have the hex 19s on top, then you're telling it that you've already occupied that option. And so then you can't select the same fixture for the bottom. So it has to be two different ones.
Okay, but then so you can mix and match. Could I use any of the other three that you're displaying on the bottom, or are we using more of an RGB type fixture on the bottom?
You can mix and match. For example, this is the Duo 324. This has 324 surface mount LEDs. Half of them are cool white and half of them are warm white. But if you don't want that here, and let's just say you want to take the Tri 220s from this one and put them here with the quad 19s, then you can do that.
Okay.
That's no problem.
Excellent. Okay. So you can really do a variety of different things. Like right now, the way you have the one over your right shoulder set up is you've got a nice wash light if you wanted to illuminate the dance floor for like a spotlight dance. You can bring up the light to a nice color.
Exactly.
And then, excellent. Okay. Nice. Nice. And then, of course, the one in front now does not have any of the floods, and you can still operate it that way, and it's still going to have the white LEDs that could be brought up for that spotlight dance, and then you've got movement and color that can still happen with the other LEDs.
Exactly.
Nice.
So the cool thing about the VersaFlex Bar 2 is what we've chosen to use as far as remote. It's not an IR remote; it is an RF remote. And for those that are new to remote controls, you know, the IR remote, it's like your old TV remotes where you had to be aiming at the TV in order for it to change channels. Like you couldn't be in the kitchen and lower the volume. You had to go in front of the TV to lower the volume. The VersaFlex Bar has the RF remote control, which means you don't have to aim at it. As long as you're within a 30-foot range, then it'll pick up the commands that you're sending it from the remote control.
Nice, nice. And when you have the remote control, is there a different remote control for, say, if you had two exact identical trees, or does it talk to both of them at the same time, or how does that work with remote controls?
So with remote controls, the way the remote pairs to the VersaFlex Bar is there's an RF ID, so there's a radio frequency ID that you're going to preset on the bar. So you're going to tell the bar you're going to respond to RF ID number 1, for example. And so the remote has a button labeled ID1. So you press and hold that button, or you press 3 times, and there's going to be a red LED on the back of the VersaFlex Bar that's going to tell it, hey, it's been paired. And so that's how you're going to be able to control it. Now, if I have 2 behind me, for example, as long as I have both of them set to the same RFID, then they're both going to respond to the same remote.
Nice. So you've got quick and easy control of 2 of them for...
Exactly.
So before we get into showing the lights and such, packing and storing, how much breakdown is involved with having to take those, especially the back ones where you have the additional lights? Do I have to take everything off to transport, or what's the best way to do that? Yeah,
that's a great question. You do have to take everything off for transport. It does get a little heavy when you have it fully dressed like this, and it could be a big case. If you were to put this thing into, one case, it would just be too big for you to transport. And maybe even for some of our mobile entertainers, that maybe they use, a wagon type of vehicle to transport their equipment, or an SUV. It would be a little big for them to be able to have that flexibility. At that point, it would be like, wow, I wonder if I can tear this thing down and transport it in separate packages.
Yes.
So you do have to take it down. The moving heads do stay on there. They're prefabricated on there.
Okay.
So depending on how you have it mounted, for example, the one in front of me, I have it set up on this totem-like table here. And it has rubber footsies on one side so that you can put it on a tabletop in front of you and do it that way.
Sure.
The other option is if you have it on a T-bar the way it is back here, then what happens is the VersaFlex Bar has this bracket that's included in there. And so what you do is you just turn this loose, and then you're able to lift the VersaFlex bar off of your stand, and then you could put it in its travel case. So depending on how you have it set up, right? If you have it on a tabletop, if you have it on a T-bar, then it really depends on how you have it. That's how much disassembling you would have to do. Obviously, we would recommend that you bring this down a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 steps, so that it's easy to access the different power lights that are attached to it. That way you can disconnect them. Once those are off, then the bar, there is a bag, a case that's included with it, that you can put it in there for transporting purposes. As far as moving the power lights around, we don't have a specific bag yet. We'd like to maybe custom fabricate one that you can put all 4 in it. That way you have your power lights in one bag and then your VersaFlex bars in another, and that way it's easy for you to carry both at the same time instead of having to carry this big crate, case, or bag out into your car.
Does the VersaFlex bar, does that come with the light stand, or do you have to use a different one?
That's a great question. It does not come with a stand. I'm going to go into that since you asked the question. So some of the options for the VersaFlex bar are, right, you do have this bracket that's included.
Yeah.
This bracket could be mounted on the top of the VersaFlex bar or on the bottom of the VersaFlex bar, depending upon how you want your moving heads to be placed.
Sure.
So for example, if I have it here in front of me, as you can see, the moving heads are on top. The way I have it behind me, the moving heads are on the bottom on both of the bars. So that's one of the options. You can have it in front of you like this, the way I have it here. If you want to put it on a T-stand, then you would have to use this particular bracket that's included so that you can do that. Or there is also this truss bracket, very similar to what comes fabricated, what comes in the package, like this one here, but except for this one allows you to hang this on a truss, right? Whether it be right here like this, if you have your trussing going on like this, you can hang it from a truss. Other options that we are working on right now is having the ability to maybe fabricate a bracket like this one that allows you to mount the bar vertically, so that you can have the bar here, moving heads on the outside with 2 of the additional power lights on the outside. So that's another bracket that we're currently working on as far as the VersaFlex bar goes, because we want to give end users the options to really customize their look. So that way there's something unique about every mobile entertainer that uses the VersaFlex bar. Some of them might like it, horizontal. Once they see the way it's going to be done vertically, maybe they like that option better. So we just want to be able to give people a true flexibility when it comes to using this particular fixture.
No, I like that. I like that idea, having that flexibility, because there's times where I'm at certain venues and I could see where having a little bit of a different setup would really be advantageous instead of low ceiling or a weird hanging down softening in front of my stage.
Not enough width, maybe you want to use 2, but you don't have enough width to use them, right, in a horizontal perspective, so you want them vertical. We think outside the box, John. One of the things we do. We think of a lot of our production is done with a psychological thought behind it. It's all from a psychological perspective. What would people like? How would it look? If I was a mobile entertainer, which I was, by the way, I was a mobile entertainer before I got into manufacturing. And there was a lot of times where I found myself needing different things. I found myself thinking, if I had this, if I had that, but unfortunately the market didn't have it for me. So that's kind of what pushed me into manufacturing and being able to come up with all these different things. It was the fact that there was a need in the market. And that's what kind of JMaz is solely built on, is that need that has long been forgotten about. And so that, I guess, is a topic for a different day. Yeah. But again, that's how we manufacture our stuff. It's all from a psychological perspective. I mean, because I see a horizontal bar, and I just think to myself, what if there was an option to mount it vertically? How would that look? And somehow I rig myself up, and then I look at it and I go, that's pretty cool. So now we're thinking, again, a bracket that allows you to mount the bar, right, on a vertical. So imagine having one on the right, having one on the left, and then why not a third one behind me, horizontal? That right there is a light show within itself.
Oh, yeah, that would frame a person in really well. That'd be a lot of fun. A lot of fun indeed.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of the capabilities and colors that we're going to be working with.
Yeah.
With
So initially, when we debuted the bar in Atlantic City last August for DJX's, we saw that it was bright. So when it would turn on, it was just so bright that I thought to myself, how do we dim it down? How do we take this thing step by step, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things we thought about is like, okay, what does the light have? And again, it's got the RGB outside LEDs. It has the cool white, the warm whites, and then you have the moving heads. So I was thinking to myself, how do I make this so that if all I want is the RGB LEDs on the outside? And that's when we thought, why not have the RF remote do all of that for you?
Sure.
For example, there's a button on the remote labeled red. There's a button on the remote labeled green, blue, and one that's labeled RGB. Those 4 buttons are strictly for the outside LEDs that are on this bar. So as you can see, I press the red button on the remote, mm-hmm. and I have this light show, if you want to call it that. So once the red is on, I have 12 different options to choose from. That's going to change the red light show 12 different ways, the way you could see it on the bar right now, right? So it's going to change the red 12 different ways. So it's going to give me 12 different shows. And it's going to do the same thing for green. It's going to do the same thing for blue. And then I have a stop button in case I want to turn that off. It'll turn off the red. So I'm going to hit the RGB button right now, and it's going to give me this really cool RGB effect. Mm-hmm. So I have now 12 different options for what I want my RGB to look like. And so that's what that's just, the controls that you have for the outside LEDs. Let's just say I don't want those RGB lights to be on, and all I want is the cool white LEDs on the center of the bar to turn on. There's a button on the remote labeled cool, and that's going to turn on just the cool white LEDs. And we chose the very first show of the cool whites to be this one, which is as dim as it could be, because if we did this with it, then it would probably, blind people the minute it comes on, right? So we didn't want to do this immediately. We wanted to kind of start you off here.
Yeah.
And so now I have 12 different options for what I want my cool whites to look. And so you can choose the way this looks 12 different ways. I'm going to hit the stop button, and it's going to turn that off. The one thing we did do on purpose was the warm white beams that are built into this. We wanted this to kind of just hit you in the face when it comes on. So the warm button on the remote turns on the warm white beams that are built into the bar. And then from there, you can bring it down, right? You can choose 12 different ways that you want this to look. And so these are 12 different built-in presets, if you would call it, that the warm white and every single function has. So I'm going to black that out. Now, if you don't want to have to deal with that, there's an auto function. The auto button turns on your RGBs, turns on your cool whites, turns on the warm whites, and it also turns on the moving heads. But before I get into that, let's talk about the moving heads. Here's a button labeled head. You push it once, and it turns on the 25-watt moving heads. And I'm going to slow them down just for the camera to pick up, right, the movement.
Sure.
So I've slowed them down. Mm-hmm. So these are 25-watt moving heads. Again, preset number 1 is the default setting. That's where they go when you first press head. And then again, I have 12. That's preset number 2. Now it's going to get into gobo projection, gobo shake, color wheel. So that's preset number 2. And again, I have 12 different ways to choose the way I want these lights to look. If I go through all of them, we'll be here till tomorrow. Yeah. So then the very next thing is, those are the moving heads. Now the moving heads do come factory loaded with a single facet lens. Mm-hmm. You're gonna see behind me, these are preloaded with a 3-facet lens. Okay. So it'll project that one 3 different ways. So that's this one. And then next, let me black that out. So that's gonna go in standby. The auto button does this. It turns on the bar into its built-in auto show, right? And so there's an auto function and it'll do this. And you have 12 different ways to choose from what you want your bar to look. And I'm just going through the different presets here on the remote, and it's changing everything. It's changing the moving heads, it's changing the warm whites, it's changing the RGBs. So it's changing everything about the bar, depending on how you want it to look. There's also a sound mode. So if I press the sound button on here, it blacked out. But the minute I hit a beat and go,
it's going to react, yeah.
It's reacting to sound. So it has all of these different things built in. Now that you've seen it this way, I'm going to go ahead and show you the different available options that are up here, unless you have any questions about the way this looks right now.
So how large of a dance floor will one of those cover? Like, just like you have it set up there, how big of an area would you recommend?
So we had a 20 by 20 booth at MEX.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good size, depending on how you position it, right? I think you could do a 20 by 20 dance floor with a couple of these the way they look right now. Maybe something half of that when you have one. But it really depends on where you are. Do you have a stage? There's a lot of factors that can really tell, because I was in our warehouse the other night, and I'm like, let me see how far these things could go as far as projection goes, right? Range. So I had them back there, and I had my meter tape with me, and I have a 25-foot meter tape, and I couldn't go as far as the light was able to go. I mean, I was far out 50 feet, and you could still see the projection up against the far wall, and, that was 50 feet away. And it wasn't completely, dark back there, but I had a meter tape out there, and I could tell you it was no problem for 50 feet for these moving heads to get to. And obviously the wash lights, they will illuminate a dance floor very nicely, so it'll paint it for you. So, if I wanted it to just, maybe a red, for example. Oh, I turned on the wrong ones. Let me turn those off.
That's actually pretty cool to see the two of them sync with one push of a button. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So I hit the red button. And so let's just say, maybe I got, a Valentine's Day theme, and I just want red with white spots. And so this is ultimately, something that I would do. Yeah. And then if I then added maybe, the Quad 19s and the Tron 7s, maybe I can hit unit 1, and I can then give myself a little more effect. There's a little more, Valentine's Day theme going on here. Maybe somebody wanted to bring me in for a St. Patrick's Day theme. And so I went ahead and I hit maybe the green, give myself a little bit of this here. Besides that, and then I hit unit 1, and then I give myself, something like this. And then I wanted to come in with the moving heads, or maybe I want the moving heads to have a little color, and so on and so forth. Right?
Well, you can definitely
something like this.
You can definitely see how that tri lens makes a difference with the beams.
It expands it. Yeah. Yes, it expands it very nicely. So ultimately, that's what we wanted to do. Again, so that's just where we are as far as this bar goes. Yeah. Nice. But you could cover a decent amount. I mean, you have 25 watts here. I think combined here, you're looking at least 50 to 60 watts combined with the VersaFlex bar itself.
Yeah. Nice. Let's take a look at what kind of connections do we have in the back. I'm going to switch you over to the iPad.
Yeah, let me grab this. Yeah, let me grab this iPad over here, and I'll flip it around.
Let's see.
So what we have here is directly on the back.
There we are. Yep.
Okay, so here we go. So as you could see, there is 1, 2, and then on the other side we have. Show you this here. So we have 2, and then we have 3 and 4. These 4 connections are specifically for the par lights that you would add to this bar. Okay. And they're labeled fixture 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a power supply specifically for every light. Whenever the bar detects that you have plugged in something to fixture number 3, there's a red LED right next to it that corresponds to these connections. And there's red LEDs on this side that correspond to these connections. So it has independent power supplies for every light. That's how it has the ability to do the whole thing with a single PowerCon connection. So we've got PowerCon in, power con out. There's an on-off switch on it. It's not gonna turn on immediately when you plug it in.
Mm-hmm.
There's an on-off switch, and then you have the menu display right over here, and there's that red LED that I was telling you about. Once the remote has paired to it, that's how the bar knows that the remote has been paired. And then these are the single facet lenses that I have here, just to kind of show you. But those are the connections behind the bar. There are let me see if you could see it with a little bit of the light in the background. Once it's
yeah, there we go, the mounting holes.
Okay, so there is 4 holes, and that's going to be for your mounting brackets, right, to go right there. And so that's how you attach the mounting bracket to the bar on the top side or on the bottom side, depending upon what you choose to do. So that's ideally the connections on the back. But I mean, a single power con in does the whole thing for you. And then again, you have the power con out if you wanted to run something else that's maybe nearby, maybe a haze machine right at the foot of your stand or right next to you.
Sure.
You have added power supply there for you.
So right next to the power con, am I seeing, is that XLR in and out?
That's DMX in and out, yes. So you have the ability to control this with the RF remote. You have the ability to do an auto show directly off of the menu options, or you could do DMX in and out.
Nice.
You can program your own light shows with this so that it could, it can work with all the DMX software controllers that are in the market right now.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to go back to your other camera, so then they can see the iPad again. Oh no, that worked out wonderfully, Victor. Thank you much for showing us that.
Yeah. So ultimately, again, like I was telling you earlier, the way that we have this thing set up is, I mean, there's so many different options. Personally, I like the RGB look on this. It gives you that really cool rainbow effect. And then you add a couple of moving hits to that. It's a really cool show that this thing puts out. And again, there's so many different things to it. There's so many different ways to make it look. People definitely will have the option. So if to this, I wanted to add a little more of a rainbow effect, then I would choose something like this for the Tron 7 and the Quad 19s. So these are let me just go back here and kind of go over these here real quick for you, John. Unit 1 will turn on the parts on top. There's a button on the remote labeled Unit 1. And then remember, you have 12 different ways. So I'm pressing preset number 2 now. It goes to green, number 3, number 4. So these are all static looks, right? If you want to just light up the dance floor, give it a little bit of a wash light in there. And then past preset number 6, once I get into preset number 7, then it goes into the built-in light shows that these lights have. So then we have number 8. And so this is the Quad 19. The cool thing about the Quad 19 that it's not just a regular par light. It has the ability to pixelate itself.
Yeah,
so
neat.
The center LED could be one color. The outer ring can be a different color. And obviously everybody knows the Tron 7s, right? We have the yellow honeycomb-like graphic overlay on the face of it. And it could get into, this rainbowy-like effect, right? So that's the Quad 19, and we have the Tron 7. The next 2 options that you have to do with I don't know if this is kind of blinding the lens. Maybe I should move these down a little bit so that you could get a better view of them.
Yeah, they're just really, really bright.
Yeah, so this is a dual 324, and when we came up with these things, at first they would just light up bright, and people were like, whoa, right? So then we go, how do we dim these lights? So with the remote control, the best thing we could do is only light up the rings, which is a really, really nice eye candy. Maybe it's time for father-daughter dance, or maybe the photographer wants just some really cool pictures with some nice eye candy in the background. This is as far as the Dual 324. So this is the warm white ring. This is the cool white ring. And then we could get into different color combinations. So that's going too fast. Let me slow it down for you so that you can catch the effect very nicely. So it's going from the outside ring to the inner ring.
Okay.
Right? And so this is the Dual 324, cool white, warm white. The next one, that's a strobe effect. about to fall on my butt here. So then, and so now we get into, for example, the, let me just do this again. Let's get into the Tri-220s.
Yeah.
This is 220 RGB LEDs that are built into this light. That's preset 1. And again, static colors, right? All the different presets, all the way to number 6. You get all these different static colors. Number 7, then you start getting into this like rainbow effect. So it starts to do this effect where all the LEDs are just kind of shifting color. And it'll do that for, you know, different colors. This, you see the yellow expanding into the red, and it'll just kind of go back in. So that's the Tri-220. We didn't want to just come up with a hard light the way people are used to seeing a hard light. We wanted these things to do something different, something modern.
Yeah.
Right? We wanted to have that new era, new age of consumers, right? Because the average mobile entertainer, it's like early 20s, 30s, maybe late 40s. Hey, and why not, right? Some of us that are a little over 40, why not get into this thing as well? Right?
Yeah,
we gotta catch up with the times. So that's what we wanted to do.
Okay, Victor, I've got some questions that are lining up here.
Yes, go ahead.
First off, somebody asked, what kind of warranty are with JMaz lighting? They were wondering about warranty.
So all of our products come with a 2-year warranty. One of the cool things that I'd like to tell people about our warranty is that, you know, as long as you bought them from an authorized reseller, you hit us up, you can call us up directly. You don't even have to worry about contacting the reseller. You can call us and contact us directly, and we'll take care of it for you. We'll help you troubleshoot it over the phone. And if it can't be fixed or get it to operate well over the phone, then we will proceed with maybe sending you a prepaid shipping label, save you the hassle of having to go through all that. So there's a 2-year warranty on all of our products.
Nice. Okay. Next question was availability. When are they going to be shipping?
Okay, that's a really good question. So there's a lot of components to the VersaFlex bar. There's the bar, there is the remote control, then there is the carrying case. All three components require different manufacturing sectors. So we have the bars here. The remotes are underway. They should be here within the next couple of days.
Good. Okay.
And the bags are getting prefabricated here locally, local to us here in the City of Industry. So they should be ready to ship all together and ready to go. What are we in now? March, going into April. So I want to say by no later than the end of April, they will be ready to ship. Now, keep in mind, because these things are so popular and everybody, you know, I've yet to hear somebody say, oh, it's cool, but, you know, like most people that look at them, they go, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So because of that, there's a lot of back orders. And so a lot of our current inventory will go to fill in those back orders. So if anybody's looking at buying this or interested in placing an order, I suggest that people should do it sooner than later, because the sooner their order comes in, the sooner one of these bars will have their name on it. I know that we have inventory on the bars here. And like I said, the bags and the remotes are the only 2 things we're waiting on. And we just don't want to get into, we'll send you the bar and we'll get you the bag later. Or we'll send you the bar and we'll get you the bag and the remote later. We want to be able to send it out complete so you can use it the day that you receive it.
So you're ready to roll. Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, production has been, I don't want to say impossible, but it has been of a challenge with all the things that are going on around the world. You know, everyone from the automotive manufacturers to, you know, in this case, fabric manufacturers that make the cases, you know what I mean? They're having trouble with getting, you know, stuff to be able to fulfill, just like we are having trouble fulfilling people's orders. Everybody else is having trouble fulfilling our orders.
Yeah, for sure.
So you know, but it's there. It's ready to go. Shipping no later than April. Ready to go.
And now the additional lights, the optional lights that are on the top and the bottom, are the availability with those the same?
They are available now.
Perfect.
Yes, those are here. They're in stock. The bars are here in stock. I mean, we have pallets and pallets of them here in stock.
Good.
I just don't want to send it without a bag. I don't want to send it without a remote.
Yeah.
You know, that's my biggest concern. Yeah. And so hopefully, you know, given that the times are tough, people can understand that. and you know, we ask that they work with us in regards to that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the par lights, they're here, they're in stock and ready to go.
That's excellent.
The bags and the remotes has been kind of held back. You know, recently we had an issue where they couldn't ship stuff with batteries in them because it required additional paperwork, and we're like, send them without the batteries. We'll go to our local Walmart and buy a bunch of Duracell batteries.
Yeah,
here.
Exactly. We can make it. We'll make it work. So,
so you know, those are the kind of challenges that we've been faced with. But we try and do our best. That way, we want to, you know, put our best foot forward and make the best out of it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Victor, our time is kind of wrapped up here, my friend. Well, just thank you for the walkthrough. What a great tool for the mobile DJ out there. And I've got people in the chats who have been like, "This is awesome. I'm buying a pair." So,
yeah, thank you, John. No, I appreciate you having us here. And I know that I mentioned people can go to our social media pages and find out more information about these lights. But you know what? I also want to tell people that we're here. Our phone lines are open. I know if you follow me on Facebook and you want to send me, you know, a direct message, it goes directly to my phone. So I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Any question you might have, feel free to reach out directly. You don't have to go to our social media pages to try and find an answer. If you're looking for an answer quicker than that, you can always reach out to us. We're here and we're more than happy to talk to you and go over any question you might have.
Excellent. Again, you guys can go out to JMaz Lighting, JMaz lighting.com, and you'll find all that contact information, and you'll be able to find out more about the VersaFlex bar there. Victor, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.